Well, just last Friday, the Supreme Court of Nigeria affirmed the victory of Senator Uba Sani as the duly elected governor of Kaduna State, following a keenly contested governorship contest in 2023. In the wake of that apex court ruling, the governor made what could go down as a triumphant entry back to Kaduna, where thousands of his supporters trooped out en masse to accord him a grand reception. Now that all legal challenges are out of the way, the sheer amount of insecurity bedelving Kaduna is very likely going to be the uppermost in his mind as he settles down to the task of governors. But let us find out from the horse's mouth as we link up to speak with His Excellency Uba Sani, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the morning show. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
Well, all right.
Thank you, Oji. Thank you for having me.
I guess congratulations are in order. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision on Friday, put a final seal on the mandate of the people of Kaduna State and affirmed you governor of the state. Well, in your victory letter, you thanked your opponent, Isha Ashiru, for embracing the legal process. What does this victory signify for you and for democracy?
Thank you very much for having me again. I think for me, as a Democrat, first and foremost, that was the reason why I actually congratulated my opponent, Honorable Isa Ashiru, because I believe the right way is for every Democrat who contested election to approach tribunal. So what he did was right. Of course, Supreme Court on Friday put a final seal on the mandate freely given to me by the good people of Kaduna State in a unanimous decision. And for me, I don't consider that victory as a personal glory. I believe it is about Kaduna State. That was the reason why I call on Isa Ashiru and all the stakeholders here in Kaduna, as well as the good citizens of Kaduna State, to join hands with me to take Kaduna State to the higher level. Of course, since May 29, we have been running people-centered, inclusive, and government in Kaduna State, where we give everyone opportunity to participate irrespective of party affiliation. So it's a welcome development. We are now focusing toward achieving our sustained agenda, which we started from May 29 last year.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Governor, for setting the tone of this conversation. The recent Supreme Court affirmation, of course, comes at a time when the security situation in your state remains a significant concern. Kaduna State has been facing significant security challenges, with the region being a focal point for various security providing and military institutions. Now, in light of your legal victory, what immediate priorities and initiatives do you plan to focus to address these challenges facing the state? You are the Chief Security Officer of the state, so I would like to hear the concrete measures that you plan to take to address the security concerns and restore peace to Kaduna State.
First, you may recall that we were the first state to actually expand and also increase the number of booths in terms of increasing the numbers of our state-owned vigilance services when we decided to recruit about 7,000 men and women into the vigilance service of Kaduna State to assist our security agencies in the state in at least areas of intelligence gathering, and of course in our monthly core security meeting from May last year, we've been focusing on ensuring that we link up our relevant security agencies, that is the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the police, and all other security agencies, and as well as the DSS, with traditional institutions, community leaders, our local government chairmen, so that everyone will participate in helping the security agencies toward addressing the problem of insecurity in our state. Only last week, we also agreed at the level of our Security Council meeting to set up security trust funds in Kaduna State. And of course, in the next 1 week, I will inaugurate the committee, which will include and involve traditional rulers, business community, security agencies, as well as some members of the government, because I believe that is the only way we can be able to tackle the problem of insecurity. We are also partnering with the Defense Headquarters. 2 weeks ago, the Defense Headquarters also agreed to my own request to increase the level of forward operating bases in Kaduna. As we are speaking, the Defense Headquarters, under the able leadership of General Christopher Musa, who is from Kaduna, have concluded the arrangement to set up 2 forward operating bases. One in Zangon Katab that will deal with southern Kaduna. I've already provided them with accommodation, with the building and the space. Another one will also be set up in Benungwali that will also coordinate the security and the general area around Benungwali, Giwa, Aziz. These are the areas where we've been having serious challenges in terms of insecurity in Kaduna State. We've been very proactive. I believe we need more security bases in Kaduna. We need more boots on ground. And of course, like I said during our last security meeting, we need to support the security agencies in Kaduna State by providing them with the relevant intelligence. That is the reason why we urge even the local government chairmen to always organize similar meetings at the level of local government with traditional rulers, community leaders, and relevant stakeholders every month, so that we will work closely together and have a synergy with what is happening both at the state level and local government and community level. So that's what we've been doing. And we've been supporting the security agencies with relevant equipments, as well as improving their level of technology, because we believe fighting insecurity is about also supporting the relevant security agencies. That's what we're doing at the moment, and it's work in progress.
Thank you, sir. Nice speaking with you today. So it's been said that your predecessor, Malam El-Rufai, he's been accused of Islamization in Kaduna State. Both yourself and your deputy governor are Muslims. I believe out of the commissioners, 3 out of 14, I believe, only 3 out of 14 are Christians. And so I want you to speak to how you're going to make sure during your time as governor that Christians within Kaduna State do not feel marginalized, and also that they feel that they are being protected.
I think you would have asked the chairman of the Christian Association of Kaduna State chapter, who have appeared more than 3 to 4 times on your own TV station. And he made it abundantly clear to all of you that today in Kaduna, Muslims and Christians are working closely together as one family. That was the reason why I personally went to the church during the Christmas Carol celebration. And of course, everybody in Kaduna now is working closely as one family. We don't have any problem of religious differences in Kaduna. And if you listen to Khan's position in Kaduna, they will tell you our government is government that involve and include everyone, irrespective of party affiliation or religious differences. That is what the Khan chairman, if I could recall, just last month he came to a station and he even commended me. So I would like you to go back and listen to his interview. That will help you. The issue of religion in Kaduna, for me, is not the issue. For those that know me very well, they know religion is not part of my agenda. I believe everyone has right to choose a religion, and as a leader, I took an oath on May 29 to be fair to everyone. That That is the key issue. And if you look at the major appointments we made since I became the governor, you agree with me that most of the major agencies in Kaduna State have been occupied by both Muslim and Christians. So there is no any difference, there's no discrimination, just like what the kind chairman, my brother Reverend Hayab just said. And of course, we organize monthly religious harmony meetings where CAN and GNI usually come together and interface and work with the government and discuss with us on the way forward. So nobody in Kaduna State, as we're speaking, is talking about marginalization. Nobody. Nobody is talking about religious differences. That is the reason why, since I was elected, nobody in Kaduna have talked about religious differences. Nobody, not a pastor, not a reverend, not an imam.
Well, Governor, Your Excellency, it's good to hear that. But, just going back on Adeswa's questions, we all know that Nigerians witnessed an increase in religious intolerance during the tenure of your predecessor. Civil society groups, including the Middle Belt Forum, say that his tenure was characterized by massive killings and decimation of Christian-dominated areas in southern Kaduna. You have mentioned that you have been, liaising with the Christian Association of Nigeria. You have mentioned your attendance at the Christmas carol organized by CAN, where you announced the end of religious divide in Kaduna State. Now, I would like for you to just highlight how you would say your administration will differ from that of your predecessor and what you think your predecessor did wrong at that time.
I think, I am someone who don't really give any judgment on anyone's administration. For me, what happened was in the past. We are moving forward. At the same time, even the Southern Kaduna people, if you recall, during the festival, the likes of General Zamani Lekot, Christopher Musa, CDS, as well as Reverend Matthew Kuka, all came out and commended my government. So for me, it's okay. We are moving forward. What happened, happened. But the most important thing is we are working as one family. Like I said, we are taking development to every part of Kaduna State. Of course, during the festival, Zamani Lekot came out openly and mentioned some of our achievements, some of our efforts in terms of taking development to every part, including Southern Kaduna. Because as we are speaking, we have did the groundbreaking of more than 7 roads in Southern Kaduna that link up virtually all the local governments. Only a few weeks ago, we did the one of Gontu, the Jama local government that connects about 22 villages and communities that will link markets with farms, because we believe we need to also push in our rural transformation drive. We believe we need to close the deficit in terms of level of development between the urban and rural areas of Kaduna State. And that's the only way we can be able to be fair to everyone. So as we're speaking, we're doing a lot. We're working with everyone, and things are going very well.
Okay, I'm still talking about, repositioning Kaduna for security and development, Your Excellency. Following the unfortunate drone strike where Nigeria's military unintentionally killed scores of civilians who were celebrating a religious festival, back in December, Vice President Kashim Shettima hinted at plans by the federal government to rebuild the Tundu Biri village, from the misfire from the drones. Now, according to the Vice President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directed that the Pulako initiative be kick-started in Kaduna State with a complete package. We're talking about housing, clinics, schools, veterinary clinics, empowerment initiatives, and even solar energy, among others, by way of compensation for the destruction. I would just like to get an update on how far the initiative has gone. It's been over a month now. What exactly has been put in place for this displaced families, as it were?
Thank you very much. Since the unfortunate incident, Kaduna State government have been very proactive. First, what we did as a government, let me start with that. When we took those injured to the hospital, our hospital, as you are aware, Kaduna State government took care of all their medical bills. We also have our shelter home in Kaduna that can accommodate about 200 people. So what we did, those that were affected, those that their families were killed during the unfortunate incident, what we did, we brought them from Tundu Biri to our shelter home in Kaduna, where we put them there because of, we also try as much as possible to give them some kind of lecture by our psychologists, because we believe some of them were traumatized, some of them were really down because they lost their loved ones. So we didn't allow them to stay there in Tundu Biri. All the families of those affected, particularly those that have their relations, either father, mother, or children died because of the unfortunate incident, we brought them to our shelter homes. We kept them there because we believe they need to undergo some level of counseling. And of course, as we are speaking, all of them are happy. It was only a few days ago we returned them back to Dimbiri, and of course, those that were also hospitalized, a few of them undergo some operations, and they have recovered, and they are back to Dimbiri. So we've been looking at that, and when the federal government made that pronouncement by the Vice President on behalf of Mr. President, I had series of meetings with Mr. President, and the government, the federal government have stepped into making sure that they fulfill their promise, because we have identified the land. I called the communities. There are 3 communities that incident affected them. So I brought them together. We sat down with them. They agree on a particular location to build the houses, the hospitals, market, as well as support their farmers. So we agree with them, and we choose the location. I went to Mr. President. The government have started the planning, and by the grace of God, in the next 2 weeks, from what we discussed with the President and the Vice President, the project will start. What really delayed the project was because we need to sit down with the community for them to agree on a particular location. And Kaduna State government have already cleared the land on behalf of the federal government, and the federal government will start the project in 2 weeks. Everything has been put in place, and I have no doubt in my mind the project will certainly be concluded within the time frame, because the federal government promised us that they can rebuild the community, build those houses, clinics within the period of 8 months. So I will continue to follow up with the federal government, and Mr. President is very serious about the project, and the Vice President is taking the lead as we're speaking.
Thank you, sir. Your predecessor, Malam El-Rufai, received commendation from the World Bank for elevating Kaduna to the top spot on the Ease of Doing Business Index. However, General Zamani Lekwot, who you previously mentioned today, criticized El-Rufai as leaving a divisive legacy. Considering these two, both his economic accomplishments and comments from General Lekwot, which aspects of your predecessor's legacy do you wish to uphold? And in what ways should we see you as completely different?
Of course, what is more important is that Governor El-Rufai have done extremely well in the area of urban renewal. In Kaduna State, you are aware, a lot of effort was put by the last administration in enhancing urban renewal in Kaduna State. So that, for me, whether we like it or not, we have to commend him for that effort. But of course, we are focusing on rural transformation drive, because I believe the level of poverty in Kaduna State is really alarming. When you look at the SDGs report, the report, as we're speaking, about 80% of the people of Kaduna State live below the poverty line. And for me, it's worrisome. And we're also focusing on ensuring that we improve the level of our educational development. Of course, we have about 600,000 out-of-school children in Kaduna State. That is the reason why I'm happy to also say that we're working very, very hard to ensure that we attack those problems, particularly the issue of out-of-school children, because only last week we finalized our partnership with the Kuwait Fund, and Kaduna State government will be the first state to benefit from Kuwait Fund in terms of reducing the out-of-school children in Nigeria. And we are working very hard to do that because I believe education is the greatest leveler. And we're also looking at the healthcare because only a few days ago, I also had a meeting with the president of African Development Bank, which locally is a Nigerian. He is working with us closely in Kaduna on a number of projects that has to do with agricultural development, improving the value chain in terms of agriculture. We are partnering with African Development Bank, and they are supporting Kaduna State, not only in terms of agriculture, but in terms of energy, as well as supporting our healthcare, both secondary and primary healthcare system, because they believe that now we should be the model. That's my conversation with the president in Nigeria in terms of our healthcare development. So we are doing very well. Only last week, again, I was able to have a meeting with German Agency for International Development that visited us in Kaduna. They are also helping us to develop agricultural value chain, train our farmers, which is very important because, like I said, agriculture is also one of our major focus in Kaduna State. So we are working toward that. And if you could recall, also we look at our lane financial situation in Kaduna. Because of that, I also approached some governments, particularly the UAE, and as well as Qatar government. Only 4 months ago, we did the groundbreaking with the Qatari Charity Foundation to build houses for the less privileged, build schools, hospitals, which are a grant, not even a loan. After this interview, I intend to go and visit the site. The Qatari Charity Foundation have already built hundreds of houses for us free, clinics, as well as schools for the less privileged in Kaduna. So this is the effort we are doing here at the level of our government, attracting grants from our development partners, just like I mentioned, Qatari Charity Foundation. We've been doing that. Even the Kuwait Fund, for me, is more like a grant. And of course, about $28 million, which we are going to channel toward reducing the out-of-school children. Like I said, 600,000 in Kaduna is unacceptable because we believe every child that deserves to go to school must go to school. Education is the greatest leveler, as you know. So this is what we are doing. And if you look at the area of infrastructure, like I said, Rural Transformation Drive, we did the groundbreaking in about 16 local governments as we're speaking, construction about 32 roads, and they're all ongoing right now, linking our farms with markets, crossing, and that will affect a lot of villages. We are improving the level of supporting our farmers, supporting our small businesses, improving the level of our rural development, and supporting also our people who are in the rural areas, because we believe we must take basic development to rural areas. But the most important thing I need to mention here is that when I came in, I signed an executive order to also ensure that we reduce the level of our people that are financially excluded. Because when I came in, like I said, I realized that more than 3 million people who are living in rural areas were financially excluded completely. And I signed an executive order to ensure that at least 2.5 million within 1 year are brought back to financial services sector. Today, I'm happy to say that we have captured over 1 million, precisely 1.2 million We open accounts for them by the government deliberately because we believe we need to ensure that more people are financially included if we really want them to benefit from some of our social intervention, even by the state as well as the federal government.
All right. Governor Uba Sani, those are laudable projects. Well done. And you have said that you are running a people-centered, inclusive and pro-development administration in line with your sustained agenda in making Kaduna a model of development in Nigeria. Now, you were at the forefront when the federal government charged states to review their social registers. I mean, they said that it lacked integrity. Now, you have heard of the scandal rocking the humanitarian ministry. I'd like to know how far you have gone with your social register, where it is at this moment. I understand that you, like you have just highlighted, you have captured about 1 million Kaduna citizens in your financial scheme at this point. Walk us through the process of your integrity test with the social register in Kaduna State.
Thank you very much. The reason why I went, the federal government announced at that time, they talked about cash transfers, and I was the first governor, if I could recall, that disagree with the process. And my disagreement was based on my informed knowledge about the data as well as the statistics, because if you could recall, I was the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Financial Institutions when I was in the 9th Senate. And I covered about 96% of the financial services sector in Nigeria. So I have the data, and at that time, I can say it here without any fear of contradiction, that about 75% of the adult age in northwestern part of Nigeria are financially excluded. The data is there in the Development Finance Department of the Central Bank, as well as the NDIC. So because of that, I was wondering, what social register are we talking about? Is it the one that have the data and the statistics from the Central Bank, as well as the NDIC, or which social register? That was the reason why I believe the social register was not really updated. That was what I said at that time, and I urged other governors and the stakeholders to really work toward ensuring that we updated our social register. And I did not stop at that. I came back home and I signed executive order to ensure that we captured and ensure that we bring at least 2.5 million of our adult age who are financially excluded back to financial services sector. That was what I did, and I was urging everyone to do it, because if we don't do that, we might not really attack poverty. We cannot reduce the level of people that are financially excluded, because you cannot really support your people if they are unbanked. How can they assess the intervention from the government? That is number one. Number two, most of these people cannot even open accounts if you don't embark on financial literacy campaign, because those people in the rural areas don't believe in the government any longer, most of them, because they feel they are not benefiting from most of these interventions. So you need to educate them, you need to urge them, you need to even ensure that you guide them to be captured. And government must do that. Don't allow them to do that on them by themselves. They cannot do it. Government is about service. So that was the reason why we signed executive order. And today, we're halfway, because 1.2 million, we still have 1.3 million to capture. Hopefully in the next 4 months or 5 months. When we've done that, I'll be happy. I'm not doing this because of the federal government social intervention program. I'm doing that because as a governor, I must always have the statistics and data of my people. So whenever the federal government asks us, I know who are competent, who are qualified, who are the vulnerable, who are the underserved, and who are the poor. That is the way to go about it. If we don't do that, we might not reduce the level of poverty in our own country, because this intervention must go to the right people if we really want to make any progress. But in most cases, it hardly goes to the right people. And that was the reason why I was worried, and I made those comments at that time. And I did not only make comments, I follow my comments with actions. So that is the issue. What is happening is not only Kaduna State. Many states, like I said, in Northwest, Northeast, even North Central, and some part of the Southeast, and even South-South. The only region in Nigeria that have a lot of people that are financially included probably is only Southwest. That is the issue. And if you look at the situation as we're speaking, many states in Nigeria don't even have national banks there. I was a chairman of the committee on banking. After statistics, I can say it here. So that is the reason why we need to work extremely hard to attack the problem of poverty, create jobs, and if you want to create jobs, and that is number one. Number two, in Kaduna State, when the Vice President also talked about support for the SMEs, what we did in Kaduna State, we quickly repositioned our agency, Kadeda, and I called the management of the agency, and I urged them to work closely with SMEDA and ensure that at least we look at the number of SMEs we have in Kaduna State. Because I remember after COVID-19 pandemic, or during COVID-19 pandemic, when we made pronouncement and, at the level of National Assembly, and we worked closely with the Central Bank to support people that lost their businesses because of COVID-19. I sat down with the then Deputy Governor of Central Bank. We looked at the situation critically. We realized that many states don't have even functional SMEs, because SMEs must have at least there's a minimum requirement to be called SMEs for you to assess any intervention by the federal government. And I remember I engaged then the Minister of Trade and Investment at that time, urging her, that is Hajia Katagu, to also look at that situation critically, because many states, if you go around this country, ask them to tell you the number of SMEs in those states, you will agree with me that most of them are not even in existence at all. So here in Kaduna, as of last week, I asked the Kadeda to brief me, and what we see is that we have over 4,000 SMEs. When we came, we had about 1,200, but when I urged them to go back, organize them, support them, ensure that they guide them, and today we are having about 4,000. And not only that, we're trying to cluster them and make them to work as cooperative, because there are some of the intervention they cannot even qualify to assess it as individuals SMEs. They must have a cluster, they must have a cooperative arrangement. So we are doing that in Kaduna State, and that's the only way we can support small businesses, support our small farmers, and ensure that we improve the level of economic prosperity for our own people. That's the key, and that's what we're targeting at the moment.
All right. Governor Uba Sani, Your Excellency, would like to thank you very much indeed for joining us on the morning show, and congratulations again.